All right, my name is Israel Solomon. I'm a visual artist who's located in Indianapolis, Indiana, and thanks for coming to the channel and checking me out today. For today's topic, I thought I would go over a question that I get all the time, which is how did you get started and get interested in art and creating artwork? And the way that began for me is at a very young age, probably 4, 5, 6 years old. I can remember coming home from school or Saturday mornings, turning on the TV and watching my favorite cartoon shows. He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, GoBots, all the things, all of those great shows. And being inspired by the shows, loving the characters, the colorful art, and all the dynamic presentation that those 80s cartoons brought to the screen. So I fell in love with those things, and I can remember early on trying to attempt to draw a He-Man character. I wish I still had the drawing. I definitely don't, but I can definitely remember doing that, and that's the first drawing that I can remember creating. I was probably around 5 or 6 years old, I would guess, and it probably didn't look too great, but it was just a chance for me to create something that I admired. And then as time went forward, I would do it a little bit more here and a little bit more there. Also, my older brother, he would draw from time to time, and he was really good. I didn't think I was very good when I was younger, but I would say that my brother was really good at drawing back in those times. And I admired his work. And one of the things that he did, which actually helped me when I started doing it, was he would draw with ink a lot. He would use ink pens instead of pencils with a pencil you can erase, but with an ink pen you can't erase. And he would do these really cool ink drawings. And I tried to mimic those probably a few years later after I saw him doing it. And I began to do those types of things as well. In addition, my father would draw from time to time. And he didn't draw very often at all, but when he did, they were really good. And I never thought that I would be as good as my brother at drawing or my dad at drawing, but I had that interest, and it's something that I kept doing. So moving on from drawing He-Man cartoons and Thundercats and things of that nature, I would also, be in school, middle school and things of that nature, and I can recall drawing space battles, X-Wing fighters, Star Wars characters and things of that nature. And as Michael Jordan got more popular, I started paying attention to his shoes and his sneakers, and I would start drawing his sneakers. We couldn't really afford those back in the day, back in that time. So, I would draw his sneakers, or I would try to come up with my own, or I'd see another player's sneakers and I'd be like, oh, those are really cool. Maybe like David Robinson, Bo Jackson had cool sneakers, Tim Hardaway. And, I would try to draw my own or draw those shoes. And that was another thing that inspired me. And as I got a little bit older and started moving into high school and things of that nature, I took more drawing and art classes. When I was in elementary and middle school, I always loved taking art classes, but I definitely wouldn't say that I was like a standout kid or drawing or doing anything better than anybody else in the class. It was just something that I enjoyed doing. But again, as I moved into high school, I definitely took as many art classes as I could. And I was able to take, a painting class, a drawing class. I think I even was able to take like an independent study class with my teacher, Miss Elrod at Anderson High School. And, she was not somebody who taught you all the technicalities about drawing and things of that nature, but she allowed us to sort of just do what we wanted to do. And there was a freedom in that. So, that's really where the interest came from. And as time moved forward, I graduated from high school and I ended up going to Ball State University. And when I went there, I wasn't really sure exactly what it is that I wanted to do, to be honest with you. I didn't see myself becoming a professional artist or a full-time artist, as some people call it. But I knew that I enjoyed art and that it would be cool to maybe have a career in the arts. So my thought process was, okay, well, becoming a professional artist seems nearly impossible. I don't know anybody who had ever done it, anybody who was successful in a creative field like that. So I said, well, maybe I could be a graphic designer, or maybe I could be a teacher. I'm a reserved individual for the most part, sort of laid back and to myself. So I didn't think that I was naturally a good teacher, but I thought, you know what? Well, it's in between graphic design and teaching. I'm going to go ahead and get a degree in teaching. I think that would be a really cool thing, to be an art educator. So I did that in college. I wasn't good at it. I got about halfway through my degree before I realized I wasn't good at it. And I said, well, I'm halfway here now. Might as well finish it up. But through that time of earning that degree, I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about discipline and about pushing yourself and challenging yourself in ways that you wouldn't expect. And even when you're not necessarily good at something, still giving it a shot, because you can improve at something. And through that time, I also took a lot of art classes in college, because you have to have a focus as a visual arts education major. So my focus was drawing. I had always loved drawing, and I took a lot of drawing classes in college. And I had a teacher named Professor Gee, and he was very strict and to the point, and he was very direct, and that worked out well for me because it allowed me to learn a lot. I took in what he had to say, those honest criticisms and critiques, and I took those and I improved my skill. And that's good for me. It's healthy to hear that honesty, because when you hear that honesty, if you take it and utilize it to improve yourself, then you can only get better. So, that's really a short story or short explanation of my interest in art and how it began, and where it's led me to at this point. So throughout the years, there's so many things that happened to lead up to this point. There's more parts of the story that I can tell you in regards to going to Ball State, ultimately obtaining that degree and not using it until about 10 or 15 years later, actually. And then also being creative and actually turning this creativity into a profession. And as the channel continues, I'll explain more about those processes and those steps that it took to get to where I'm at. But I definitely hope that you got something from that story. And the one thing that I would say for any aspiring artist, such as myself, don't get caught up in, okay, well, am I good at this? Am I not good at this? Do I have the natural ability? Do I not have the natural ability? If it's a passion and something that you love, then do it. It's just that simple. If it's a passion and if it's a love and if it's something that you want to grow and develop, it's not going to matter if you're showing your work to a group of 2 people or just doing it for yourself, if you're selling it or if you're not selling it, because it's a passion and a love. That's why you should do it. Visual arts and being an artist, a professional artist, for money and gain is probably not the best idea. It works for some of us, doesn't work for all of us. But again, if you have that passion and that love for what it is that you do, you're going to do it regardless. You're going to do it when you come home from work. You're going to do it when you have some free time. Sometimes you're going to do it when you don't feel like it, because you need to practice and get better. Just like if you're playing a sport, you might not always feel like it, but you have a passion and a love for it. So you're going to feed it regardless of if you feel like it or not sometimes. So have that passion, and with that passion, develop consistency. And if you can develop that passion and consistency, then you're feeding yourself. And that's what makes it worth it. It's again, it's not about the monetary gains, or maybe becoming someone who's known in the community, or even larger than that. It's about the love that you put into it. And if you really love it, you're going to continue doing it, and you're going to do it on a consistent basis. So I would encourage you, if you have that love, get out of your own way, practice that craft, keep honing it, and it's going to give back to you in ways that you will never understand. And often it gives back to you when you least expect it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again.